Imagine walking into a busy corporate office lobby, the kind where everyone is rushing with files in their hands, phones pressed to their ears, and eyes glued to computer screens. In the middle of that rush, a young intern, soft-spoken and often overlooked, would soon have a moment that changed not just her life, but inspired everyone who heard about it. And if you stay with this story until the end, you'll see why sometimes the quietest voices make the loudest impact. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this deserve to be remembered and shared. Her name was Aisha, a shy intern who had joined a large corporate firm just 2 weeks earlier. Every day, she kept her head down, did the work she was given, and never drew too much attention. She wasn't the kind of person to raise her hand in meetings or chat confidently with senior staff. In fact, she often doubted if she even belonged there. Surrounded by people who spoke quickly, moved fast, and seemed so sure of themselves, Aisha felt like she was fading into the background. One rainy afternoon, while others hurried past the glass doors, a visitor walked in. He looked around with searching eyes, holding a small folder in his hand. At first glance, he seemed just like any other client. But when the receptionist greeted him, he simply gave a polite smile and pointed to his ear, shaking his head gently. He was deaf. The receptionist froze. She didn't know sign language, and the line of people waiting behind the visitor grew restless. Some staff members looked uncomfortable, others avoided eye contact altogether. The man's smile began to fade, his hands fidgeting nervously as if he was about to give up and leave. And then, almost without thinking, Aisha stepped forward. She hesitated for just a moment, her heart racing, but then raised her hands and signed a simple greeting. "Hello, how can I help you?" The visitor's eyes widened. Relief spread across his face like sunshine breaking through clouds. For the first time since he had walked in, he felt seen, understood. Aisha guided him to a quieter corner, patiently interpreting his signs into written notes for the receptionist, bridging the gap no one else could. She didn't notice, but up on the second floor, behind the tinted glass of an office window, the CEO of the company was watching the whole scene. He had been in the middle of an important call when his eyes were drawn to the lobby. He saw the hesitation of his staff, the confusion of the visitor, and then, this quiet intern stepping up, doing what no one else could. As Aisha continued, she grew more confident. She listened, she smiled, she reassured. The visitor, who had come in anxious and unsure, left with gratitude in his eyes and a soft pat on Aisha's shoulder, silently thanking her. She thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't. Later that day, Aisha was called into the CEO's office. Her hands trembled as she walked in, she thought maybe she had done something wrong. But when she entered, she saw the CEO standing instead of sitting, looking at her not with sternness, but with admiration. "I saw what you did downstairs," he said gently. "You didn't just help a visitor, you showed this company what compassion looks like. You reminded us that communication is more than words. It's humanity." Tears stung Aisha's eyes. No one had ever noticed her like this before, not for her grades, not for her silence, not for her quiet kindness. She had always believed her shyness was a weakness, but in that moment, it was clear, her quiet heart had been her greatest strength. The CEO didn't just thank her, he announced that the company would be sponsoring sign language workshops for all staff, inspired by Aisha's act. From that day forward, she wasn't just the shy intern. She became the spark for change in a place that had forgotten the power of empathy. And here's the message this story leaves us with: sometimes the smallest voices carry the strongest echoes. You don't need to be the loudest in the room to make a difference, you just need the courage to act with kindness when it matters most. If this story touched your heart, imagine how many more people could be inspired if you shared it. So don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help us spread more stories that remind us what it truly means to be human. Because in the end, greatness doesn't come from being noticed. It comes from noticing others.